Mm.
Top Gun was a cool one because that's one where we felt like we really put our stamp on it in trying to make it nostalgic and 80s. And we were competing against pretty much every other composer in Los Angeles for that job. Um,
Mhm.
and then really the person who turned the tide on it, shockingly, was it was an email from Tom Cruise himself that just said, use
Oh,
this one. And it was our MP3.
Today on the show, we are joined with Martin, who is 1/3 of the Juno Award instrumental and mega film scoring trio BLITZ Berlin. And oh my god, we talk about so much cool stuff, and we learn a lot about scoring films, from these mega multi-million-dollar blockbusters to the fun genre in indie films, directly working with Slash from Guns N' Roses, and so much more. This interview was recorded right before the release of Silent Night, Deadly Night, which hit theaters on December 12th, so be sure to check that out. But in the meantime, hope you enjoy this amazing conversation.
See me all right? Everything's okay there?
oh yeah, I'm loving your setup right now. Are you in your studio?
I am, yeah, yeah. It's a studio we affectionately call Fat Hill Studios because it's on a road called Cerro Gordo in Los Angeles, which translates to Fat Hill. So here I am.
Oh, incredible. Well, it's cool to get a glimpse inside of Fat Hill. And also, I want to say what's cool about this interview too is I've kind of been adjacent to your work for a bit. I've been seeing the name BLITZ Berlin around. I've taken in many Steve Kosanski films. We interviewed him around Psycho Gorman, and just the other month I was at the Canadian premiere of DeathStalker. And
Oh,
I
there.
always see this Blitz Berlin popping around too, but this is like the first time I started like taking a deep dive into what you guys are. And it's interesting to see that even beyond the film scoring, you guys are this trio. You also make original music. So I kind of want to know how the three of you decided to combine forces and create this.
Man, yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, we kind of fell into it, to be honest with you. We played together for so long. We started our first punk band together in high school, and spent a lot of time on the road touring Canada in the winter, which I both recommend and don't recommend at all.
Yeah.
It's very cold, very uncomfortable, but also very much the crucible that we went through
Mm.
to become lifelong friends and collaborators. And we had signed a record deal with a record label in Toronto and moved out there at that time. And the band kind of fell apart. And all at the same time, a fellow who had directed some of our music videos got his first bit of money to make a movie. And I got a panicked 1 a.m. phone call that was like, I need you to make money or make music for my movie.
Wow.
And I was like, sure, no problem. Don't worry about it. And then promptly like had to Google like how do you score a movie?
Yeah, I was
Because
gonna ask, is this your first time making a movie as well? So
like
yeah.
literally, like I mean,
Wow.
we were a little bit experienced in recording ourselves as a band in a program called Logic, but like one of the first things we Googled is like, can you load a movie into Logic?
Yeah.
Thankfully, the answer is yes.
Oh,
That
wow.
was a crash course, and we've always been a little bit of a say yes and figure it out sort of thing, but
Mm.
that really gave us our first taste of making music to picture, and it was oddly very freeing. Even though you have, a very specific goal to hit on screen, it's freeing from like a music theory perspective because
Oh.
any of the conventions you're used to playing by in punk music or rock music or pop music in terms of chord structures or time signatures or whatever are kind of out the window. There's
Mm.
conventions in film music, but really they get broken all the time because the only thing that matters is it working? Is this
Ah, yeah.
making the audience feel what they're supposed to feel here, whether it's fear or romance or sadness or whatever? Um, and that's kind of an amazingly freeing thing. So we
Hmm.
get to just, in a pure sense, feel and then try to like match that feeling with music. And if there's like a bar of 7/4 here and this whatever,
Yeah.
prog rock time signature changes, as long as it works and it's helping what's on screen, then you can do anything. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was a very odd path that led us to that. But then once we had a taste of it, it was something that we were like, okay, I think we want to do this forever.
Yeah, and then fast forward years later, it's kind of like your identity now. And I can imagine too, when you're like making songs for yourself, it's probably like a blank canvas and you can do whatever. But then in the film or TV or video games or whatever, you're getting these footage and moments, and it's almost a different type of project where you're piecing together a puzzle. And how would you compare the two contrasts there?
Yeah, yeah. Between film and video games, we're talking about?
Yeah, or just if you were making an original song for Blitz Berlin
Yes.
compared to an IP or a project that's been allotted to you.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they're different creative processes, but they also sort of come from different places too,
Mm,
because like
yeah.
uh, I mean, they can both come from an emotionally honest place, but with film, it's such an ultimate collaborative art form, of course, right? You know, photography and writing and directing and acting and lighting and everything is working together to tell this story, and you're sort of one piece of that puzzle. You're trying to do your best job to really serve the story. Whereas creating a song as Blitz, we still make records as often as we're able to, feels like a palate cleanser to that
Ah,
because
yeah.
there is no goal to make somebody feel a certain way. They're much more personal and raw sort of projects and introspective in a way and experimental in a way that we don't always get to be in film scores. So it feels kind of like a creative necessity. There's been blocks of time where we'll score so many films in a row that the tank gets a little bit empty, you know? And
Yeah,
then making a
definitely.
record sort of fills that back up. It feels much more like this there's a sense of play and
Ah,
this sense of experimentation, yeah. That they can be difficult in their own way, but it's just such a different part of the brain.
yeah, that's super cool. And I listened to your most recent album, Beneath the Doors, Open Sky, and I thought it was cool. You're also, after all these years, embracing the film aspect of it, even from the cover art being a theater. And when I listen to it, I'm like, oh, this is a score to like maybe a movie that hasn't been made yet type of vibe going on.
Definitely. I think working in scoring film and TV and stuff has absolutely influenced the way that we write for sure. We're certainly not making records of 2-minute punk songs anymore. Very much they're more, I don't know. I keep using the word experimental, but that sort of thing.
Hmm.
It's more of a journey and more of an emotion, and we're worried less about sort of format than we once were
Yeah.
when making these records. So I think a score to a film that isn't out yet is exactly how I would like people to experience them. So I appreciate that.
Oh, that's really cool. And I like hearing about your punk roots right now. Also, I was thinking as I look at like your body of work in different films too, from the Psycho Goreman, there's like 90s hip hop, and then DeathStalker is more like metal. And it's interesting how much different genres you guys are excellent at. And is it like just do you just listen to everything and kind of love everything? Or
I definitely think so. I think
yeah.
that especially in the case of DeathStalker, where there's that metal stuff and that heavy stuff like that, that's going back to our roots a little bit. Not that we are a metal band exactly, but when it comes to finding ways to produce guitars and drums in a way that's big and
Hmm.
heavy, that's maybe comes a little more naturally. When it comes to recreating 90s hip hop, we're definitely strangers in a strange land when that comes to pass. But um, the thing about working on Steve's movies is there is such a sense of just like play and like make each other laugh, surprise each other with choices and stuff, which I think is very freeing. So
Yeah, yeah.
specifically that credits rap in Psycho Goreman. So that's our drummer Tristan doing the actual rapping. His voice is
Oh,
pitched down. Uh,
hilarious.
he in the rubber suit doing the actual like
That's so fire.
it's a very handmade quality to
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It took me back of just like watching like in Ninja Turtles and Vanilla
Yes.
Ice and stuff back in the day. So yeah, you guys totally nailed it. And I can imagine with like you mentioned with like Steve's movies, there's a bit of play. And I can also maybe see like on the other side of things when you're making a trailer for like a House of Dragons, an Alien Earth, or Top Gun. Do you feel like there's like more rules over there and like a little like strictness to it where you can't get a little too much of what you want to do and maybe listen to all these executives as well?
100%. Trailers are their own world and their own beast. It's something that we didn't really know existed as like a discrete industry. I kind of assumed as a kid that just like the movie studios made their own trailers, but
Hmm.
not the way that it works. Like there's a micro industry that's still a multi-million dollar industry, or that is just companies that only make movie trailers.
Hmm.
And so it was a crazy experience falling into that world and working on some of those projects you just listed, it definitely is more formulaic than the music that we make elsewhere because there are just certain things you got to hit. You know, you got to have the one piano note off the top, or like the big shots at the moment, or the glitches and rises and stuff. Things that you know get uh, a lot of flack sometimes online of people being like, "Oh, typical trailer stuff," which I
Yeah.
understand. But the reality of that business is that if you hand in a piece that doesn't have those things, the first note will be like, "Well, where are those things?"
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
it's a little bit more like building a Big Mac.
Mm.
Top Gun was a cool one because that's one where we felt like we really put our stamp on it in trying to make it nostalgic and 80s. And we were competing against pretty much every other composer in Los Angeles for that job. Um,
Mhm.
and then really the person who turned the tide on it, shockingly, was it was an email from Tom Cruise himself that just said, use
Whoa.
this one. And it was our MP3. And we thought
Ah.
the job had gone away. So that was a like, what?
Yeah.
And I like to think, you know, I've never spoken to him about it, but I like to think that what grabbed his ear was the fact that we're fans of the original and we did get to put a bit of our own stamp by
Mm.
doing the theme with actual guitar and synth and not modernizing it too much.
Ah,
And
yeah.
80s in a way that made me feel like I remember feeling watching the original film. So
Yeah.
I connected with Tom. If you're listening, Tom, thanks for that.
Yeah, we'll send it to him. I don't know if he's gonna see it,
Okay.
but maybe if I can make my show even bigger, we'll send it again, type of
Excellent.
thing.
Perfect.
But yeah, yeah, I can imagine like that one's probably like was cooked with a little extra love, you know?
Certainly, yeah. That was one of the biggest jobs of our career so far, and it opened a lot of doors. So we pulled out all the stops to try to make that one work.
And with the process of those type of trailers too, do they send all the footage like edited first, and then you got to put the sound over? Or is it sound and then footage, or back and forth? Like,
The thing about trailers is that everyone is so paranoid about leaks, and there's so many people who
yeah.
work on them that footage pretty much never leaves the buildings, so you don't get to see anything. Top Gun, they
Whoa,
didn't
yeah.
even want to put the script of the trailer in an email for fear of leaks.
Oh,
So, as a
wow.
music supervisor, guy who I love dearly here named Angel, who is great at his job, it was him on the phone with us reading the script, sort of doing the voices a little bit too, which is not really his vibe in general, which is quite funny. But you know, he'd be like, "You should be a four-star admiral by now, Maverick. Like, why are you still, flying that? Whatever." It's like, "Oh, I guess I'm just lucky, sir." But yeah, the whole whatever,
Yeah.
the back and forth, and like the jet flies over the desert. So
Yeah.
that was all we had. We had a verbal description over the phone
Wow.
that we had to promise we weren't recording, which we didn't record. So we just have our memories to go on, and then just had to create a piece of music from scratch and kind of on a hope and a prayer and see if it worked for their edit. So we didn't
That
see anything until that trailer came out.
Whoa, that's actually blowing my mind. I had no idea you guys go in that blind, but it also makes sense with like we're in the world of everybody like leaking shit
Yeah.
on the internet. But yeah, that's very interesting and definitely an extra challenge. And also speaking of trailers, coming soon, dropping December 12th. I just saw the trailer for Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's from what I've seen. It kind of looks like American Psycho during Christmas a bit, and definitely day one watch for me. I love that silly shit. But just kind of what was your experience working on that film?
Yeah, man. I mean, this one is super fun, and December 12th is a special day for it because it's the film is out, but also the soundtrack is out from Lakeshore Records, so it'll have all the score there, which is great. Doesn't always happen these days with film, so I'm excited about
Oh,
that.
amazing.
Um, and working on this film was cool because we've never done a Christmas movie. Aside from technically, if you're a Kostansky fan, Frankie Frico is technically a Christmas movie, as it's
Yeah.
revealed in the final 10 seconds, but um, we've never done a real deal Christmas movie. And so, also, aside from Christmas movies, Silent Night, Deadly Night is so just in its own world when it comes to Christmas slashers and the kind of tone it goes for.
Hmm.
Mike Nelson's script right off the bat was so full of heart and creativity and had so many cool ideas. And his instincts for film and film score are so minimal, and he really wants to surprise the audience basically and really make them feel something. So it was a wonderful collaborative process on our end. We got brought in, we were kind of given free reign to just write a whole ton of music. Mike liked a lot of it, and then the finishing process on the film was a lot of pulling things back and trusting the audience to kind of like exist in these uncomfortable spaces and allow
Oh,
us to
cool.
scare them in these ways. So
Yeah.
It is. I think my favorite thing about it, to be honest, is that it isn't just a straight up horror movie. It's not a movie that's just there to have gore in it or to scare you in a certain way. It is kind of a get out of your seat and cheer movie at parts because
Ah,
you really end up rooting for some of these insanely violent scenes,
oh,
uh,
cool.
in a way where you're like, oh, I can't wait to see that guy get it, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's awesome. Yeah.
I mean, I was fortunate enough to be at one of the pre-screenings here in Los
Mhm.
Angeles, and there is one scene in the middle, and you'll know the one when you get there, but I won't spoil it.
Okay,
There's
yeah.
one scene in the middle that basically people were out of their seats yelling at, which is very
Oh,
satisfying.
yeah.
It's just such a like, oh my God, are they going to do that? And then they do. Uh, it's a great moment in the middle that I think is going to be hopefully kind of an iconic thing for fans. That's very
Oh,
satisfying.
yeah. I feel extra sold hearing you talk about the layers of it too, because there's only so much time in the trailer, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fun. But that's cool to hear that extra on it too. And
Yeah, there's a lot more to it than just a slasher. It is a movie that I feel like, aside from the the extreme violence, is almost like a could be a family film in the way that it has a lot of heart and a lot of genuine character work and people who you want to spend time with in the movie. It's great.
yeah, that's interesting. And yeah, again, it's just I love the combination of also like having it being this action horror type of thing, but also at Christmas. I can imagine you guys or this is how I imagine you in the studio making the horror track, and then it's like, okay, we need to add sleigh bells on top of
There is
it.
definitely some of that in there, although the sleigh bells was a fun thing for us because it was about, we recorded some very typical Jingle Bells sounding sleigh bells, but then doing our thing with them, or their distortions and our pitching and whatever, they sound like these very grating, strange sounds in the film. But if you were to take off all of our processing, it's just straight up Jingle Bells. So
Yeah.
there is, certainly there's that Christmas aspect, but we tried to do it in our own way.
Yeah, that's so fun. I'm really looking forward to it. And you've worked on like all these trailers of some of like the biggest like franchises in the world. And do you have a specific like dream franchise or IP that you're personally a fan of that you would love to take on one day?
That's a great question. So two of them that were bucket list for me that we've had the insane good fortune to be able to work on were Blade Runner was like one from when I was a kid, and we got to score one of the Luke Scott's short films that was part of the 2049 release, um, which was amazing. And then Alien is the other one, which is like one of my favorite series of all time.
Oh
So getting able
yeah.
to being able to participate a little bit in Alien Earth was super cool. Um, the one though, and this isn't a film franchise yet, but the one that I'm putting this out there into the ether,
Yeah.
I
Let's
desperately
manifest
be
it.
a part of, we're going to manifest this, is once finally Warhammer 40K
Ooh.
makes the jump to like film and TV, which apparently is in process right now.
Hmm.
I'm I actually don't do the tabletop game part, but I've read maybe 80 or 90 books in that
Wow.
world. It's a bit of a an obsession for me, and I love the lore and I love the world of Warhammer 40K. I feel like if it's done correctly, it could be like a new Star Wars. The universe is so complex and there's so many things, but it really has its own kind of horror adjacent feel to it. So
Hmm.
I would salivate to just get a shot at doing music for that.
Oh yeah, that would be so badass. And even I feel like you guys would fit the vibe perfectly from all your other work. Like yeah, you just no. And again, like the Top Gun Maverick, it would be baked with a bit of love. So hopefully that can
100%.
come your
Yeah,
way.
your lips to the God Emperor's ears. All right, that's where we want to be.
Yeah, I'm gonna send this clip to the
Yeah,
Warhammer
yeah,
people.
yeah. The Emperor of Mankind.
Yeah,
We gotta go.
we got Tom Cruise, Warren. I've got a lot of homework after this
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. Another thing too, when I was at the DeathStalker premiere, that I thought was just so charming, they were talking about the music and everything in the Q&A, and almost how Michael from Raven Banner, like on the side, he did this whole project with Slash and like Gene
Yeah.
Oglin and all those dudes, and almost like just built the song and then gave it to Steve without Steve knowing, like a whole finished song. And then Steve said he contacted you guys and was like, "Oh, can you fit this in the movie?" Like, what was
I
your
mean,
reaction to just getting a song by Slash and being like, "Okay, this is what I got to work with. This is awesome."
yeah, 100%, man. I mean, that was a very, very, very cool and something that a great thing that came out of that is not only is that amazing song, which is Bear McCreary and Chuck Sereno and
Hmm.
Slash and Bear's brother as well sings vocals on it. Made this awesome title track song that we could use in the credits and we could use a part of the film. And just being Bear, being this like giant of composing, like it sounds so good. The tones, everything, it sounds so heavy and cool.
Hmm.
But as soon as we got it, we're like, great, this is going in the movie for sure. But also, can we talk to these guys?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the answer from Slash was like, hell yeah, let's do it. So
Fuck
we had
yeah.
this great conversation with Slash where I kind of, pie in the sky, like I shot my shot, so to speak, and was
Mm.
like, would you play guitar on other parts of the score for us? And he was like, sure, what do you need? Like he was so down and so excited about the film and wanting to be part of it in any way. So there's also several cues in DeathStalker that are it's Slash playing lead guitar for us in our score. And he sent us some of the craziest guitar work because that's something we're telling him like there's the sort of rock monster fight in the middle of it where it fights like the big stone guy,
Hmm. Yeah.
and that whole sequence we're like we need a guitar solo but it has to sound like the guitar player is like has vertigo or something or is drunk, it has to like really bob and weave and just be ups and downs and dive bombs and screeches. So Slash sent us just some of the most insane guitar work I've ever heard in my life, and it's all over that part of the film.
Yeah.
So
That had to
getting
be a crazy like email or however you got it. It's like, oh, this is fucking Slash. I'm gonna open this thing. Oh
Yeah,
man, like,
literally, man. I mean,
yeah.
we talked to him, and he was so kind about everything. And
Hmm.
then we sent him the scenes we wanted, and then he just a few days later sent us a link, and we clicked it, and it was amazing because I had also asked him, I was like, we would love to include your guitar like texturally in other parts of the film. Instead of using something typical like a riser, like it'd be great if that was made by a guitar, so we kind of feel
Oh
this like metal
wow.
approach.
Yeah, yeah.
He was like, cool, look cool, love that. So what he did is he sent us the scenes we asked for, and then I have this one 20-minute long wave file which is basically just him in front of his amp, just going to town, making sound effects for us. So
That's so
these
cool.
pinch harmonics or dive bombs or scrapes or all these things that are everywhere in the film. Like we ended up using that palette so much, which I think the combo of that like metal but then also orchestral mash gave Deathstalker so much of its sound. And credit where credit's due, man. That was all Slash just being Slash. We didn't ask
Yeah.
him. It's
He
amazing.
knew the mission and like obviously was excited about this film. That's so cool to hear. I was totally geeking out about this story you were telling me right now. And I know I'm a minute over time. Do I got time for one more question with
Of
you?
course, man. Yeah, 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 no sweat.
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, we get like a lot of creatives themselves who listen into these segments too. And I was wondering if you had like just any general advice for maybe a aspiring musician who wanted to step into the film world and kind of do what you guys have been doing.
Yeah. I guess the main thing is to not wait for permission to start making stuff. Which is a little easier said than done as a composer because you don't necessarily make your own films, although you could with the gear today. But making your own music, cutting your teeth, creating stuff, uploading it and releasing it is all stuff you can do yourself. And that, in my opinion, is the best way to get started because a lot of our jobs came from our albums and from people discovering them and getting a sense of what our honest approach to creating music was like, uh, and then bringing us into their world. So if you don't release music and you wait and you need your first project to like be a big exciting thing, which some young composers feel like, you can be waiting a long time. So I'm always the punk rock approach, just make it. Get it done. Make your music, make it as good and exciting and as heartfelt and as honest and true as possible and get it out in the world. And that will attract like-minded creatives. So I think don't wait for permission, just do it. Is the
Awesome.
best thing.
Yeah, great, Martin. Thank you for that. And thank you for your time. It was absolute pleasure talking to you. We're definitely going to share some clips of this and with some footage of the work you've been on and Silent Night, Deadly Night as well. And yeah, hopefully we can do this in the future sometime once again.
100%, man. It was so good to chat with you. Anytime. Let me know.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, maybe the Warhammer movie that's coming out, right?
Oh man. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Let's manifest that. If that happens, I'm calling you like first.
Oh
That
yeah, yeah. Please give me the exclusive. Yeah.
100%.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah. You can hit up Petey's email. He's got all my contact too. We'll have a
Love it.
celebration. I'll come out
Perfect.
to LA and have a beer with you too. So,
Oh yeah, I love it, man.
Once again, biggest thanks to Martin. This was so fun. And like we mentioned, Silent Night, Deadly Night is dropping on December 12th. Also recently released is the brand new DeathStalker. If you want to hear all his work with Slash, go check out DeathStalker. We've seen it. That movie is so fucking fun. And also, speaking of, you're going to get some more DeathStalker content in the near future. When we checked out the premiere, we hit it off with one of the actors in that film, and we got an in-person interview coming your way from our brand new studio space at Sleepless Studios. I'm so excited about that one, so stay tuned. And before we go, like always, we can't run away without thanking all you legends on our Patreon page. And first up, the biggest thanks to the Queen, Ola Mazuka of Sonic Fold. And another huge thanks, this lovely lady who actually went to the DeathStalker premiere with me, and that is Amanda McKnight, aka VampX13 on Twitch and VampX13 on YouTube. If you're into comic books, video games, and all things nerdy, check out VampX13. Also, my biggest gratitude to the wonderful Jenny Potter, the #1 gent, Alan Kent, and last but not least, Francis Coffer, aka my mom. If you want to shout out at the end of every episode and also get these episodes early, raw, uncut, right when I'm done the Zoom call, I just post them. You can go to patreon.com/thecreative-imbalance, and beyond having my forever thanks, you can just sleep soundly knowing you're a badass motherfucker who supports raw, uncut, independent media, and nobody can take that away from you. You hear me? With that being said, like I said, we got a lot more coming your way. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.